Happy holidays, everyone. I know it's been a little bit since we last got together, but hope you guys had a good holiday season. And we're going to jump into some interesting Falcons news and rumors. Atlanta officially out of the playoff race, so we can start to look ahead a little bit to the offseason because it's going to be a big one for the Dirty Birds. So I want to start with this tweet that I saw the other day. I sent it to producer Nick Roloff, and I was like, we got to talk about this on Falcons today. So here we are. Cam Marino, a household Big J as always, tweeting out lots of chatter that Atlanta will be in on the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. They'd have to give him a new contract and would likely trade Ridder, our new sweet prince, 2 firsts and a second to get the job done. So we're going to jump into this rumor about Lamar going to Atlanta. First things first, is this credible? Probably not, but I will say this. If anyone in December of last year said Deshaun Watson's going to go to Cleveland, you'd probably say, you can sell me beachfront property in Oklahoma too? Like, there's no way that's going to happen, right? Or there's no way Tyreek Hill is going to get traded. So while it might be a long shot, I'm all for it because we've seen a lot of long shot trades work out here. So with that being said, as the Falcons rumors continue to heat up here at the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're going to jump into this Lamar coming down to Atlanta rumor throughout the show, but hit that big red button and subscribe if you have not already. We have talked before on how this could be a very good fit, but is there really a chance here, or are we sort of just grasping at straws and hoping and praying that Lamar Jackson decides he no longer wants to be a Raven and he wants to be a Falcon, right? He wants to switch bird teams. Now, Lamar this season has still been great. The stats may not pop off as like top tier quarterback stats. He unfortunately has missed a couple games lately. 2,200 yards through the air, 17 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now, don't forget, Lamar also has a huge element of what he's able to do on the ground. Now, the trade that was proposed by Mr. Marino looks like this when you put it all down. The Ravens get a 2023 first and 2024 first, plus a second and Desmond Ridder. So, the big obstacle we have to cross first is, how are you going to trade Lamar Jackson, Matthew? I mean, he is a free agent. This doesn't make sense, right? We'll talk about that, and I'll explain how it can get done before you just exit on out of here, because it's definitely a bit complicated, but it surely can be done. But first, I want to hear from you guys. Would you do this trade, right? Before we start talking about how a trade could get orchestrated with him becoming a free agent, at the bare bones of this, would you give up 2 firsts, 2 firsts and a second and Desmond Ridder for Lamar Jackson? Personally, I would, and I'll expand on that in a moment. But let's take a look at some recent QB trades so that we have a good kind of template to base off of, because that right there, 2 firsts and a second, that's chump change, in my opinion, for Lamar Jackson. I mean, look what the Browns gave up for Deshaun Watson. They gave up 3 firsts. You're telling me Lamar's not worth 3 first-round picks? He's a former MVP, after all. A 4th and a 3rd. So not a second going back to Houston in this trade, but 3 firsts is pretty expensive. And then there's the all-time trade, Russell Wilson going to Denver from Seattle, which involved 2 firsts and 2 seconds. The players are kind of a throwaway. Drew Lock's nothing. Noah Fant has done nothing this year. Shelby Harris is a 30-plus-year-old solid rotational defensive lineman and a meaningless fit. So really, I just look at 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Russell Wilson. So that gets me back to this trade. I think you'd probably have to add more for Baltimore to pick up the phone, right? No way 2 firsts and a second gets it done when they're going to look at the last 2 big blockbuster QB trades that sent 3 firsts for Deshaun Watson, 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Russell Wilson. So with that in mind, at least a 3rd probably has to get added, if not more. It might cost 3 first-round picks. Now, Lamar, we know, is awesome. I don't think I really had to sell you guys on that. Is he a bit overrated? I don't think so. I don't know if he's ever going to maybe come back to being a MVP front-running quarterback, but he's definitely a very, very good quarterback. Now, career-wise, too, it's worth noting, he's got 4,400 yards on the ground. I mean, we're talking about Michael Vick walked so that Lamar Jackson could run, and now it looks like Justin Fields is sprinting. So With that said, Lamar is an undisputed top 10 quarterback in my eyes. He's a former MVP and arguably the most dynamic NFL quarterback. The contract is interesting, and here's where I want to kind of plant my flag for a second and say Lamar Jackson is going to be a free agent, so a trade would be a bit unique because you can't trade a free agent, but you can put him on the franchise tag, right? If Lamar tells Baltimore, I don't want to come back, well, Baltimore might say, all right, we're not going to let you walk and get nothing. We're going to franchise tag you. And once we franchise tag you, you and your agent, which is yourself and your mom, can go shop around, see what teams are going to offer. And kind of like Watson, right? If we can find a team that's going to make a competitive offer, we'll make a trade happen. That is how a Lamar Jackson trade could get, in the works here. More to come in just a moment, but we do have some great jerseys available, and they're on sale. Christmas may be behind us, but these Kyle Pitts jerseys, they are still on sale. So get yours now. That way, if he's catching a touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson, you are repping your Falcons in style. Chatsports.com/Pitts. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Check it out and get some awesome, sweet jerseys. The Falcons quarterback depth chart, by the way, Desmond Ridder, QB1, which we're not going to spend too much time on Ridder. We'll talk about him in just a moment. Woodside is QB2. Mariota is QB3. He's on IR. And if they don't get Lamar, right, it's going to be Desmond Ridder plus probably a free agent battling. I don't know if they're fully ready to just give Desmond Ridder the team. Now, the Ravens and the Falcons, of course, played each other this past week on Week 16. So the Ravens, maybe we're looking at this game a bit closer going, if we have to trade Lamar, we definitely want to put ourselves in the position to not fall behind for our quarterback next season. And we got a good look at Desmond Ridder. And he did not play that bad, in my opinion. The stats definitely don't look like an awesome performance, but I saw a big improvement from his first game to his second. One, he just moved the ball down the field a lot better. Better accuracy, 22 of 33, 218 yards. If not for the Drake London fumble, this game might have been a bit closer. And even with Desmond Ridder, and you can look at his season stats, they lost to a very good playoff-bound Ravens team on the road by one possession. So there's some optimism to be said about Desmond Ridder, sure, going 0-2 in his first starts, but keeping the game close. And, the fumbles really screwed him over. He can only do so much. He can't make Drake London hold on to the football. It's only been 2 games. I'm not panicking. We were the CEOs. We were banging the drum of get Desmond Ridder on the field, and sure, he hasn't gotten any wins yet this far, but do you still believe in Desmond Ridder? Type 4 for yes, his number, or give me a 2 for no. Let me know in the comments section what you think about Desmond Ridder through 2 games so far. We're going to go through some pros and cons now of why they should trade Lamar Jackson, because no offense to Desmond Ridder, Lamar is better. I think we can all agree on that. I'm not going to stand here and try and blow smoke up and saying Desmond Ridder is going to be a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Now, the Falcons are slated to have $70 million in cap space, allowing them to extend Lamar. So like I was saying, they would have to agree to some sort of sign and trade with the Ravens and then give Lamar Jackson the big contract that the Ravens are too poor to do. This also allows them to upgrade through free agency. So, some free agent targets, by the way, to look out for as we get really into that season right now. Jamel Dean, the corner from the Bucs, definitely need to, I like Hayward and, of course, a big A.J. Terrell fan, but I think you need to shore up that secondary a bit more. Marcus Davenport from the Saints, a face that's very familiar. You play him twice a season. Former first-round pick that just never really was able to catch on all that well in New Orleans. Deron Payne, him next to Grady Jarrett, good luck. Mecole Hardman, Falcons just need a second receiver. It's just Drake London right now. Zacchaeus I like, but I don't love. And then Emmanuel Mosley, I think he's going to get a lot of money this free agency. So that's another name to watch for coming out of the Bay Area. But there are 2 routes Atlanta can go right now, in my opinion, right? There is the Lamar Jackson route, and then there is the Desmond Ridder route. So let's compare the 2. The Lamar on the left side here is you trade for Lamar Jackson, which would be, like I've said before, a sign and trade of sorts where, yes, he is a free agent, but he's not an unrestricted free agent. The Ravens would probably franchise tag him and then agree to a trade afterwards. You'd have to build through free agency, but you'd be limited, right? You'd be giving up a lot of money for Lamar. you're also entering go win now mode. You got Lamar Jackson. It is playoff or bust. It is not, I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust in year one, but with Lamar, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, we're talking about 3 first-round picks on offense at quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end. That has to be a playoff team, especially in a bad division. The Desmond Ridder route. You get to keep Desmond Ridder and all those picks so you can build through the draft, right? You're not giving up bukus of first and second round picks, and you can do more in free agency to get some of those guys we just looked at a moment ago. But none of that matters if Desmond Ridder is not the guy. And I don't think you can answer through 2 games if he is the guy, but we have seen time and time again, a lot of teams build great rosters around so-so quarterbacks, and it all blows up. So with that being said, I'm going to go route number 1. Right? I just think going out and getting Lamar Jackson, as crazy as that might be, that to me seems like a route that's going to get wins a lot sooner than hoping Desmond Ridder works out. And if he doesn't work out, well, now you've got all these great rookies like Pitts and London on their rookie contracts, whether they're at their absolute cheapest, and you're not taking advantage of it. And you might lose some of them to free agency when their contracts expire. So pick a route for me. You want to go the Lamar route? You want to go to the Ridder route? I'm going to go L with Lamar Jackson. Let me know in the comment section below which route you think the Falcons should go. And hey, if you have not subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. Click that big red button. The more subscribers we get, the more Falcons content you guys get. And then we don't have to go on like a week hiatus because our boss at Chat Sports says we got bigger priorities this holiday season than the ATL. Which, you know what, Brett? No, go Falcons.